Alright, hello everyone and welcome to Theorycrafting Thursday. I, of course, am Ursinity. I'm here with Proud. Hello, Proud. Perfect. Great introduction. And today, we are, it's another day of everyone's favorite Hamilton podcast. We've come to preach the gospel of musicals and talk about Hamilton. But before that, we'll talk about Dota. How has Dota treated you, Proud, this week? Since last podcast, etc.
It's been good.
Perfect. All right. Okay.
I just wanted to see how long it would take you to go, but then I was like, man, this is going to be like a really shitty, awkward pause. And
Yeah,
people are
I
gonna
was
wonder if
like,
something
oh
fucked
boy.
up.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
everything was broken.
No, yeah,
That's
I was
gonna
just,
I
yeah.
guarantee you, kind podcast listeners are going to be like thinking their podcast apps are broken or like their speakers got unplugged. But that's fine.
Yeah, no,
We're
just a little prank from the Defense of the Patients community.
boy. All right. This is a monumental period. This is what we would say #GoodPod. Anyway, why don't you elaborate on
All
how
right,
Dota
so
has been treating you?
Dota's been cool. Phantom Assassin is like actually good now. Maybe not good, but like I'm good
Pickable.
enough with her that she's pickable and winnable. So
Contrary to last week's game.
yeah, yeah. So I'm having fun. I changed up the build for the most part. I don't go Battle Fury most of the time unless I'm like the only core. In which case, I mean, we're probably gonna lose anyway because man, single core teams not very good, as RTZ proved to us when he met the guy known as Sprout. So yeah, PA pretty great. You go Phase Vanguard or Phase Aki Vanguard, some combination of those. You can get like fucking Ring of Health and then Bassi and then Vanguard, etc. But yeah, so it's like Phase, Aki, Vanguard, Deso, and then whatever items you want after there is your choice between like Bashers and Abyssal and BKB and MKBs and so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
that's fun. Love that hero. It's great. Lone Druid's still good. I got my fucking little calibration shit for the international, and I'm like 4.3 or something. I don't know. It's whatever.
I mean,
Um,
that's where it puts like basically everybody. That
yeah.
is 4.5k plus.
So it's fine. Whatever. Yes, it's been good overall. Nothing too crazy to report. The only support I've been playing lately is Disruptor. Sometimes Lion, but I have played a couple Disruptor games as you pointed out.
I did do that. It's hard to pass up Lion as well. Like Lion's just so good. I haven't been playing him recently, but I went when I was climbing solo MMR like I don't know, like 3 weeks ago, a month ago. I was playing a lot of Lion because like that hero is so darn good. That's for sure.
Yeah.
What has my week in Dota been? That is the question. I've been pretty alright. We've been playing a lot of team games together. It's either like we're playing an R5 stack for Hakuna Marana, our team practices, or I'm playing solo queue. And my solo queue have been mostly like 50-50 wins and losses, but in a lot of sprees, so like it hasn't been like win-loss, win-loss. I went on like let's see, a 4-game losing streak, and then a 4-game winning streak, and then a 6-game losing streak, which was miserable. That was over the course of yesterday and today. So it's been one of those topsy turvy kind of weeks for me, which is
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
Playing a lot of I don't even know. I've been playing actually core a little more in ranked solo queue games because I'm playing the international queue, which is bringing me down to like 4,200.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about this last week, but like I don't think of myself as that much better of a player as like a 4,700 versus a 4,200. But then at the same time, like I just think to myself, if this was an actual ranked game, there's no way in a million years I would let like somebody 500 points lower than me, like just instant lock. Like I don't know. It's
Yeah.
it's dumb. It's honestly like it doesn't make like logical sense when I try to logic it out.
I don't
But
know. I think like I've had this sentiment too that like yeah, I'm probably not that much better than I was when I was at that MMR or whatever. But like when I play these international MMR games, I can tell so much like that this person is like down 400 MMR just like the way that they move and how like they aren't really positioning themselves where they need to be in the next 30 seconds. So anytime anything happens, they have to fucking walk across the map. Like that's the main thing I noticed. But man, like sometimes these people get cores and it's very easy to tell, in my opinion. But
Yeah, it's very hit or miss. I've kind of, and now I wish like I had just listened to our last week's episode today so that I'd like remember and not repeat myself. But I've been kind of, especially on Twitter, and in Discord and stuff, talking about international queue because I have kind of like a love-hate relationship with it. Um, and um, we like there's a lot of really high MMR players like 5K, 6K, 7K that are now ranked sub 4500 and are like playing with sub 4500 people, and like it's fine in the grand scheme of things for like those players because it's just like unranked. That's what everybody I've talked to, myself included, is treating it like. But it sucks for those people that are legitimately 4200 or like 4100 or whatever, low
yeah,
4Ks, because like they don't have the chance to properly recalibrate or treat this mode like an actual ranked mode because they're being basically just jumbled in with all of these people that should not be there. And like myself, I'm not like I said, like I'm sure I'm nominally better than these people, but not by any significant margin. Like it's not a huge deal. But if I was like some like 5K, 6K guy, it like that's when I'm sure they'd be frustrated. And I imagine like if I was that high more, I wouldn't even bother playing this mode in any significant
yeah.
amount. But you know, like I said, we talked about that last week, so we won't harp on it. But I've been enjoying it. Why don't we do actually? We haven't done it in a while. Let's do some state of affairs.
The
I
fuck?
So solo MMR, I'm down. I actually just lost 3 games in a row, which was not fun. I'm at
Fuck.
4679, party 4243, which I think that's been more or less around that like mid 4K, mid 4200, low 4300. And then solo for international rank is 4279, and party is still TBD.
All right, my solo. I'm down a little bit. Played a lot of Phantom Assassin and didn't really work out.
Pulled an eternal envy.
Yeah, it did. I won 3 games with it, and then I lost, and then I lost like 6.
Yeah.
So you know that happens. The wins were in international queue, sadly. Well, a couple
That's
of
how
them.
that's how it might have been. I'll be
Yeah,
honest.
so solo MMR is down to 46, 4650. But you know we're making it back. It's okay. Party is down to about 42, sadly. I mean my party's always been about 42. Party's always been fucking low. And then the solo queue is at for international ranked, of course. I just got calibrated at 4312. So nothing interesting going on there.
All right, so all in that region. So no huge
Yeah, we're doing
disparities.
pretty similar. Seems.
Yeah, well, also like almost all of our party queue games are with the two of us
Yeah,
plus either it's the two of us for the show or the two of us plus 3 of our team members for team practice or just casual 5 stacking.
yeah.
So you know they wax and wane in accordance with
In
one another,
tandem.
in tandem. Perfect. We're like you know, one of the bicycles. I don't know. I was gonna make an
What?
actual joke of that, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, well, you didn't.
Yeah, I didn't. You're right. So for this week, we have a segment. We like to call it nothing because it doesn't have a name. But we're going to talk about solo queue mentality, and this is a good segue because we just listed our MMRs, and actually, right now we're give or take the same in all 3. So that's perfect. And we're usually generally around each other, but sometimes you know, sometimes you have a hit big win streak when I have a big losing streak, or vice versa.
So
So
on and so forth.
but I think this is a topic that is very relevant, especially for me recently, because I used to not play a ton of solo queue, and when I did, I'd play solo queue unranked. But now with this international ranked queue, which I've been treating as unranked, and now that I just play a lot of regular solo ranked as well, because I've like overcome my ladder anxiety, solo queue mentality has been an issue that has I don't want to say, I was going to say plagued me, but that's not really proper. It's an issue that is important and I think is different for a lot of different people. And you and I have different attitudes towards a lot of things Dota
Yeah.
wise. So I think this is a good conversation. So, do you want to start? What's your like when you're starting to solo queue, like before you even, do you have like rituals or whatever before you even go into like the actual game itself? Like, do you only play under certain conditions or
I'll do a
whatever?
backflip.
Okay. Yeah. That does it work? Does it like do you get the blood rushing to your head?
Um, sometimes I just break my neck and then fall asleep.
Yeah, and those are mostly law. Well, I suppose you don't lose MMR if you're sleeping, so that
No,
that is
that was when I know it was a bad day to play Dota. If I can't pull off the backflip, I don't play ranked.
all right. That's fair. I mean, everybody's got to have their thing, right?
Hmm.
Mine is usually to play a warm-up game, and I only try to play like real solo ranked if I'm like I only try to play like a couple games at a time so that I don't like tilt myself or
Yeah,
like,
good advice. I should take that sometime.
yeah. And like sometimes it doesn't like sometimes like you play 6 games in a row and you'll win six, but then other times like today for instance.
No, you
Today
won't. You don't.
today
No, that doesn't happen. Actually, sorry to tell you.
today and yesterday. To here's our anecdote for the week. Today and yesterday I was on a 6 game losing streak and it was miserable. It like legitimately was one of those times where Dota was just not fun. Like we all get that way. Like
Yeah.
it just feels like a chore and like nothing goes your way or like things go your way, but it doesn't go the way for your teammates and they do stupid things and like you lose games or any form of the myriad Dota issues. And I know I shouldn't like afterwards. Like it's just an attitude thing and it's not the way that you're not in peak conditions. So that's an example of a time where I should not have been solo queuing. I did it anyway, so I lost like the 3 games. But the converse of that is that in ideal conditions, when I play solo queue, I like to play warm up games, so I get all my feeding out, and then I play 2 games ish, give or take, and hopefully I win them. And if I don't, then it is what it is, and I come back the next day. But other people have very different ideas. So, and I definitely know you play solo queue very differently. So, what do you do?
Yeah. So I just kind of like I used to like not even play a warm up game or anything. I would just fucking go into it because whatever. But these days, I guess this is actually the first time I've ever done it. I played international ranked before I played solo today,
Yeah.
and then I wanted to get my rating, so I just played a lot, and then I wanted to talk to my friend who I hadn't seen in a while, so I didn't really play any solo. But normally, I mean, the standard proud procedure is have a hero that you want to play, play solo ranked. Hope that you're gonna last hit well because you're probably gonna play carry, and then feel weird about taking safe lane and not want to actually like tilt your team too much because someone clicked on it before you. And then you like maybe kind of decide if you want to pick a support, but then you don't. And then you have to play off lane. You're gonna play lone druid off lane, but you like suck at lone druid off lane despite being good on the hero, and it's a catastrophe. So really, I'm just kind of all over the place, and it sucks no matter
Uh-huh.
what I do. But the main I'd say like mindset wise, I think there was a long period on the show where I was talking about how far down I was. Like I lost like 800 MMR, and I still haven't really like gotten back to getting like way above where I was before. It was a big loss in about December, and that was kind of like where a new Proud was born, where I would lose all these games, but I wouldn't get too upset. I mean, I would get like upset once in a while because it's like shit, that's 800 fucking MMR.
Yeah.
But on
Yeah.
the other hand, I was playing badly, but you're never like, anytime a match matters, like you kind of got to think about like what your goal is in Dota. And I just like want to be able to like play in amateur tournaments and not be a piece of shit. And like you never get to choose when those games happen. So if you're playing badly, like I don't know if that's the best reason to stop playing because like it's not the worst thing ever to practice when you're at your worst because like then your worst gets better, right? That's how I kind of think about it. Probably not, but it's nice to think about. So I just kind of play. Like if I lose a game, like MMR, like people complain about the system a lot, but it's like pretty decent, honestly. And at the end of the day, I mean, it's just Dota games, and I have my MMR like hidden at all times, anyways. So I'm like not worried about people judging me and shit.
Yeah.
So
Except for
I
like when
just
you
play.
announce it to the on the
Yeah, I was
podcast.
like, I'm down fucking below, where I want to be. It's kind of sad. Used to be like, oh, I'm gonna hit 5K soon. It's gonna be great. But now I'm like, you know what? I'm just like, I'm a 4,700 player right now. I'm just like super aware of all these mistakes I'm making, and it's like, it's really easy for me to get in a game and be like, there is something wrong with me. Like this game, I'm making horrible mistakes that I have no excuse to be making. So I've just been like really aware of those situations, and I'm not caring too much about MMR. I'm just trying to trying to. I think it is a really big mindset thing. I think that's probably correct. I don't
Yeah,
know, man.
yeah,
You
I
talk.
definitely agree.
Fuck you.
My my big problem recently has been I too, like I notice all my own mistakes, and I may or may not be overly critical of myself, which is decent when it comes to like I don't flame my team often, unless like they start it, which is good. But at the same time, like it's very potentially harmful when you're playing 6 games and like each game you're just like, boy, I was out of position and I did this wrong and that was a bad item choice and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So you've always there's definitely something to learn out of every game. And when it comes to solo queue, like yes, we all have those games where it's like, all right, like we just lost because we have a mid pudge and he's missed every hook, and it's like those things are out of your control. But at the end of the day, like you can only affect your own play, right? And
Yeah.
like you can kind of affect other people by like morale boosting or communication or like and you can do that negatively as well. But at the end of the day, like we're all here to improve our own play, and I definitely am glad that I've come to a point where I play enough solo queue and I've like worked on my mentality enough that losing a couple of games, it's like, all right, it's 75 MMR, it's not the end of the world. The classic Scrunk quote: after every losing streak comes a winning streak. And that's kind of that's what I take away from it. Also, the other, and this is probably my last point before we move into closing this segment and then going into the combo for this week. My last point is that I'm a crazy person
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm superstitious, and I'm superstitious in nothing except for Dota. And I don't know what it is. I'm like, the gambler's fallacy.
Yeah. I know that one.
Yeah, everybody knows it internally, whether you know it by that name or not. But the gambler's fallacy, and especially with the Monday show always talking about poker, this is required information. The
Bunch of
gambler's
idiots.
fallacy is basically that I've lost. It's basically believing that the odds change due to previous odds when in reality they don't. So it's the idea behind like I just lost 4 games in a row, so I play the next one in ranked because I'm like, boy, this has got to be a win,
Yeah.
right? And that
It's
makes no sense. That makes absolutely no sense. But mentally, I think that way, and it ruins like it's so bad. And that's
yeah.
something I don't know how to work on that. But I'm just like I'm cognizant of that flaw, and it's incredibly stupid. But at the same time, like I just don't know what to do about it. Like I literally did that today. Like we lost all those games last night, I think, for team practice, and I was
Yeah.
like, boy, I'm
Well,
on a
it's like
4 game
two.
losing streak. And I was like, I'm just gonna play some ranked. I played a warm up game. I lost that. I was like, oh, sick. I'm on a 5 game losing streak. There's no way I'll lose the sixth. And then I played a ranked game, and it was like, all right, we lost. And like, because obviously every game is give or take 50-50, but for some reason mentally I'm
Yeah.
like, boy, I deserve a win. Valve's gonna shine on me.
Yeah.
So
Regression to the mean is a tendency, not a law, unfortunately.
yes, that is the fancy way to say, don't do that.
Thank you. I'm very
Don't
smart. Thank you.
don't be like Ursinity. Don't
But I
believe
mean,
in the
that can
gambler's
be
fallacy.
expanded to like a lot of different points, though, right?
That could be. That definitely could be.
Because like,
Don't watch anime, don't watch K-dramas, don't do a lot of things I do. Especially don't watch idle anime. God. Um anyway, before we get into some weird
great.
tangent
Yeah,
about
that's fantastic.
Aikatsu, which is the best show in the entire world,
Okay.
we are going to talk about Dota 2 again, and we're going to talk about our combo for this week. And these are 2 heroes that we both like a lot. Actually, I don't know how much you like your hero that you're gonna be playing, but we both like my hero. And so today we're gonna be playing Anti-Mage and Disruptor in the safe lane because obviously it's an Anti-Mage, and unless
I
you're
was thinking a
like
jungle. You can safe lane.
you, yeah, jungle Anti-Mage is not a thing that is that bad.
Dude, I've lost to it before, man. Like that's some pub shit that you'd
Yeah.
feel so bad about.
What's bad pub wise? Like when you want to talk about like getting away with dumb things in pubs, I won a pub game the other day, and we had a safe lane life stealer. I was playing a roaming kunkka, which is a pretty greedy as far as supports go. We had some other greedy mid and like a relatively greedy offlane. I think it was like a lone druid, or
Yeah.
like a faceless void.
That's the
And then
offlane you
and
need there,
then
man.
but then on top of this, we had a jungle Naga Siren,
Oh
and
my.
she got an 18-minute radiance, Aquila, mana boots, Iron
Jesus
Talon, 4-man
Christ.
shield.
Who made
and
that hero?
it wasn't like some like the, it was like international ranked, and this person was legitimately like a 4,400 player, and it was just like it's a pub game, and the other team was like completely incompetent because stopping junglers is not easy when you're uncoordinated in pub games, and like that's kind of stuff you can get away with in pub games, and we won despite the fact that we had a Quap mid, that's what it was, and he was flaming the entire time. He was like, "Yo, we lost, we lost." I was like, "Yo, we have a jungle Naga who has an 18-minute radiance." He's like, "Yeah, but we just lost that team fight. We're done." It's like, "Yo, buddy, all right."
I
Anyway,
want to talk about the mindset a little bit though, because I had a game earlier in this international ranked, and I feel like queuing at that where like I see these people like from my ivory tower of 47 whatever the fuck,
yeah,
and they're down at 42 squabbling in the fucking mud,
yeah,
and like I can see the mindset changes. Like there was the game I was playing Slark where I actually got killed by an anti-mage team. This guy was playing Necrophos, and he just wanted to like he really wanted to push, but there just wasn't an opportunity. They had like fucking Ancient Apparition and Zeus and all this stupid bullshit that would like kill everyone.
yeah,
Fucking and yeah, it was like Faceless Void, Zeus, Ancient Apparition, and Pudge, and then an anti-mage split pushing. Like you don't just walk into that. That's not a casual thing that you do, especially when you're a pusher. Like your highest damage in your pusher is like fucking Slark, but he doesn't have any farm because Nature's Prophet took everything.
yeah,
But yeah, so like we'd want to push, and then we couldn't, and he's like, "We need to push, but we can't." I'm just gonna like right click on everyone, find who doesn't have the most items, say the game time, and then say their name, no items.
yeah,
And that's just like as soon as or say, "Oh, I want to push," but no, they don't want to push, they just want to farm. It's like, dude, like half our team is dead. We can't push. Like you're just saying things. So man, we really watch out for. I kind of knew that what he wanted me to do was just sit there next to him and do nothing. And it honestly might have been better to not have him tilt and just have me do nothing sitting there next to him being like stupid in tandem. But I just didn't have it in me, so we lost because of that, I think.
yeah. And again, like we'll be quick about this and get back to the actual
No, we won't.
combo. But yeah, you're right. It's us. We're not gonna be quick about it. Negativity doesn't really help anybody, and especially when you're like broadcasting your negativity to four other people. And like I've been known, like I stream all the time on .ptv, and it's a good time. But like I vocalize like, dude, we just lost. Like this game is super over. But like I don't say it to my team, obviously. Like doesn't help anybody. Like if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. And some people did not like have that message internalized. And like there are certain points where it's worth it to just like be like, hey, you guys are bad and like this is dumb and this is not going well. But that's something to think about, right? If it's like 15 minutes and you lose one team fight, spamming good game well played is not the thing to do.
Yeah, I feel like this is something that I've started doing for myself. Like, there's a lot of times where, like, I don't want to admit that, or maybe not that I was like the fault of the game, but I was like the problem, or a problem at all. And like, I'll die at some point and realize my item timings aren't that great, and then I'll be like, well, does my support have good stuff? No. My support didn't really do anything. Did the offlaners, is he doing well? Maybe we're losing because the offlaner sucks, not me. And like I'll just
Yeah.
go around clicking people and trying to find where the flaw is that isn't me. And anytime I do that, I'm like, okay, no matter what happens here, like it is definitely true that the only reason I'm doing this is because I just did something bad and something bad happened to me. Therefore, I'm trying to like look for a hole in someone else to like preserve myself. So at the very least, like you can do that to preserve your own like self worth or whatever the fuck. But like, don't hit enter. Don't hit enter after you do that. Just kind of let it go. And then I don't know, man. Mute all chat. I'm just gonna pick a jungler every game and mute all chat. Just by the way, in case you ever wanted to play with me again.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I that's how I initially climbed. Is I just used to mute everybody and just play my own game, and that's how I got to 4K. And it was just like everybody's being toxic, so I just ignored it completely, and I just played my own game. I picked what the team needed. So that's also another whole mentality. But we can get into that on a future segment, unnamed segment. I
Okay.
think we should just keep it unnamed for now,
The unnamed
forever, actually.
segment.
Yeah, the old segment. The combo this week, like we said, AM Disruptor. These two heroes we picked pretty specifically because Slark has been incredibly annoying in pub games. I've seen many a Reddit thread, and I personally have been ranting about it on Twitter. And I do not like to clarify, I don't think Slark is an overpowered hero. I just think he is like the god, like the perfect hero for pub games where coordination is not a thing and he's kind of like Broodmother or Meepo or like Ember Spirit, and then like if you fifth pick him and the enemy team has like no disables and they don't have AoE disables, etc., etc. Like he's just like you've like won the game, or at least like you've gained a huge advantage just by the draft of like, oh, I have Slark and you guys lack all these things. Or even if you like first pick him and the other team just picks stupid things anyway, because you know that's what people are liable to do.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think the hero's that overpowered. I think he does need like at least a small tweak. But he is kind of the scourge of pubs, at least for me. He's legitimately been like what feels like 100% pick ban rate, in my like all my ranked games in like the last week. And for some reason he never gets banned. He always just gets picked. But
And I
whatever.
see him get banned every game.
I
It's
mean, I
like
always put him up
Alchemist.
for ban.
Alchemist. Oh yeah. I always see him up for it, but yeah, it's like Alchemist, Slark, and I do Mirana now. I think that's like the main thing I do because I just don't want that piece of shit in my game.
Yeah, Mirana's pretty annoying. Any roamer that's disrupted. Also, like Mirana has like the tilting aspect of like
Oh yeah.
Mirana hours your mid, your mid's like TP or is like spam pinging your supports. Like, why are you not mid? Why didn't you pick a Baden to dispel the stuns? Oh, feed. Anyway, so that's that. So AM and Disruptor, AM especially, are two heroes that are really good at dealing with Slark. And obviously, we have no clue if the enemy team is actually going to pick Slark. Realistically, you know, who knows? But but these two heroes really excel at dealing with Slark, so that's kind of the genesis of this combo. Also, we like both of these heroes. I am kind of like when I'm if I'm well known for any carry, it's either Naga Siren or Anti-Mage, and I love Anti-Mage. I play a ton of him. I won't be playing him tonight. And you even, like you said earlier, you play Disruptor as one of your supports. So like these are two heroes that we both know dearly. Do you actually like Anti-Mage? I know you don't pick him a lot. I'll put it
Um,
that way.
it's he's kind of like Naga Siren for me, where like I don't dislike playing it, but you know, anytime someone picks anti-mage in your game, you're upset, especially if they're on your team. It's just like you all know that fucking player. Like I posted earlier fucking like stop anti-mage culture. And like that's it. Like this fucking like the person who picks anti-mage first pick in your game and like fucking steals safe lane from you and is like fucking just this total piece of shit asshole who like probably has a faux hawk in real life and like a
Probably.
huge insecurity complex or
Just
something.
like mine.
Yeah, just looks like Sam, and it's just this terrible piece of fucking human garbage. But yeah, so it's just like Animage in general, like Animage games suck. You pick him because you think you're better than your entire team, and then you farm all game, and then if they lose before you have 6 slots, you're like, oh, my team sucks. But then, like, once you get 6 slots, you're not going to be able to end the game anyways, and then you die once and you feed your incredible net worth to them. You're like, oh, my team sucks. I'm solo because they fucking all died while I farmed, etc. But I
Yep.
just, yeah, fuck anti-mage culture, man.
Anti-Mage is
I like the hero
definitely
though. He's fun.
yeah. I mean, I agree, and I think the anti-mage culture is definitely a problem. Anti-mage, and I was saying this earlier when we were off mic, in that the anti-mage is a kind of in my mind like the classic like farming and ignoring your team carry, and sometimes that works out, but in a lot of pub games it is not. And having that attitude is really harmful potentially to the team if you know you're playing solo queue and you're just like I'm gonna pick anti-mage and I'm just gonna do my thing, and if my team feeds and I lose, whatever. Because anti-mage nowadays, with like the advent of these fighting builds, where like you don't go battle fury, he can actually contribute to fights, and like he can actually do things. So if you commit yourself to being like, all right, I'm just gonna go battle fury, I'm gonna go vanguard and go manta, I'm gonna finish abyssal, yada yada yada. So a lot of times you'll lose the game because like the enemy team is cognizant, or they realize like, oh hey, this guy is gonna try to farm a battle fury and he's not gonna be able to fight for the next 20 minutes, and they could just like steamroll you. So the hero is definitely like more complicated than just knowing how to farm the jungle with the battle fury, and I think a lot of people miss out on that, and they think he's really simple.
Yeah.
Um, so I think on that note, what is the anti-mage build right now? I mean, I kind of summarized the build that I see most regularly. Is you go still like treads, battle fury, vanguard, manta, then you finish the abyssal, and then you know depending on the game you'll go other things like butterfly, or sometimes you'll go heart, etc. MKBs are necessary sometimes. And then there's the fighting build, which is basically just treads, Vanguard, Manta, and then you finish the Abyssal, and then you go into whatever other conditional items. And sometimes people even go for late Battle Furies in that build. And like Miracle hit 9K off of a Shadow Blade Anti-Mage game. So if you're Miracle, do that. What is your Anti-Mage build? I imagine it's one of those, give or take.
Yeah, I think for the most part, I mean, I don't actually really play him that much. I feel like he's a hero that you don't really need to like practice up on too much. Like he has nothing about him has really changed outside of the fact that you can go Vanguard earlier now, right? And that's old school shit too. So it's just like calling back previous stuff that I did in Dota 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'd still say pretty standard. Like you go whatever variation of Ring of Health and Treads and Perseverance you need to like make the laning stage manageable.
Yeah, even
But
double
like,
ring of health. I did that in against a
uh,
Dark Seer. It was pretty sick.
yeah,
That's
if
the
you
only
need
time I would
that,
ever do that, by the way. Don't do that like normally, but against Dark Seer, instead of like, people used to do the like you get ring of health and then you get headdress. But now, like, since you're gonna be going Vanguard anyway, you just go double ring of health, and like I still swung like a 12-minute Battle Fury because it's just like you can actually stay in lane when you have what I think I had like 13.5 health regen per second. It's like all right, sick.
yeah,
Anyway.
yeah. If you're in one of those like really weird lanes where you just want like insane health regen, dude, like you have a lot of options. Um, I'm not too sure how quick I would go the Vanguard. I feel like maybe people a little bit too eagerly jumped on the bandwagon. Like I think it's good, but I see a lot of people doing it in situations that don't call for it. Like I saw this anti-mage get like first item, like he was like Treads Vanguard, and then he farmed. I was like, what the
Hmm.
fuck? Like it's so pointless. Like just get your Battle Fury. There's no reason for you to have a Vanguard right now outside of the fact that you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would still probably lean towards just Treads Battle Fury. Then maybe the Vanguard after if we need to fight. Probably the Vanguard. I feel like if you have the option to go Vanguard or Vlad's now, just go Vanguard. Vlad's is kind of dead end. The lifesteal and the push is nice, but Vanguard just offers so much more. Um, yeah, so I'd probably just go fucking like Treads Battle Fury Vanguard. I feel like if you go Treads Battle Fury Manta, like you don't even really have the mana to support the Manta that much because it's like honestly it's an expensive use. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I definitely agree. And I mean, I play a ton of anti-mage, so I think so in my mind at least when I'm playing him, the idea behind Vanguard after Battle Fury or even sometimes Vanguard before Fury is the just like am I going to get ganked while farming or am I going to have to, farm or whatever or fight or whatever because without that vitality booster's worth of health AM is so easy to kill. And like one example, for instance, is if the enemy team has like a snowballing orchid carrier or like an inherently silencing hero, or silencing is kind of a mediocre example. But if they have like enough heroes that they're bursting you down consistently, or they have the potential to do so, you're a lot better off getting the Vanguard before Battle Fury or like right after instead of getting Yasha, so that you can actually
yeah,
survive and run more cycles and be a little more ballsy. Because the difference of a few hundred health makes all the difference. Same thing with like
yeah,
keeping your treads on strength. I see this constantly. Is that like and I even make this mistake is that like you're like, all right, I need that extra agility to farm camps faster, but then like you get ganked in your jungle because you don't have 160 extra health that you would have had if you had strength treads on. And at a certain point, like you do enough damage. Like that's not a concern when you're killing neutral camps. Just keep strength treads on when you're in lane because like you're gonna get ganked and it makes all the difference. That's a big pet peeve of mine. Even like any treads carry honestly does that. Like Slark is another huge one. Like people they switch to agi treads on Slark because they're like I'm gonna farm faster. And then like Timbersaw does one combo on you and you're dead because like you don't have that extra strength. And that's my soapbox for them for now. But strength treads are good and Vanguard is good also. And Vlad's I feel like is kind of obsolete on AM because
yeah,
you don't have like the difference between getting your Abyssal 2000, what is it, 2150? I think that's the cost of
yeah. A
of
Vanguard?
what's it called yeah, Vlad's
Oh, Vlad's yeah.
is
Like 23.
getting your thing of Vlad's worth of gold faster. It makes all the difference. And like AM has a huge amount of fighting potential once you have Manta Abyssal, because you just Manta Abyssal, you're gonna have to be at least level 11 by that point. You just Abyssal Manta, and you blow someone up with your ult and two illusions hitting it, and like you can just freely kill tons of people. So that's absolutely something to think about. Vlad's is still nice, but I don't think it fits into the build nowadays.
Yeah, it's really attractive to have like that aura just for pushing even. Like it's so good. It's like people really underestimate how much damage creeps do to towers and like what a big part of your damage that is. And like giving them
Yeah,
the lifesteal so you have more of them and 15% more damage on your creeps is like honestly it's incredibly impactful.
yeah,
But
maybe for a fighting build.
yeah, well even then no, I hear like Manta in the fighting build and it's like no, like shut up. It's not.
Nah, the Manta illusions are like all your fighting potential.
Oh
If
sorry,
nothing
not
else.
Manta, I meant Vlad's.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, Vlad's is kind of like efficient damage if you don't need stats from like a real item.
Yeah, it's just yeah, fucking like I really did like that Vlad's became like the mainstream AM build, but if you can go Vanguard and like just get that tankiness, like you just don't have a reason not to.
Yeah. So we'll see what build we end up doing in our actual game. I, of course, I'm going to be playing Disruptor. Disruptor's a hero that's. I haven't been playing him recently, but I used to play a ton of Disruptor. He's a favorite of mine. Glimpse is one of the coolest abilities in the game, in my opinion. It's just so like interesting, and in Kunkka talk for this week, the buff I've been praying for is that X marks the spot would work like Glimpse, because Glimpse is like nigh impossible to dodge unless like you make a crazy Manta play,
Yeah,
or like there are a few other like really rare ways to escape it. Whereas X marks the spot, you can escape with like practically anything, which is
yeah.
really
Can you
annoying.
Manta it off? You can't Manta it off, can you?
You can't Manta it off, but you can
Okay.
Manta dodge it if you time it
Well,
perfectly.
yeah,
Um, but you can also like you can dodge Kunkka X with like Puck's phase shift.
yeah.
Whereas if
That's the
Puck,
main thing I think about.
yeah, Puck can't, and Yule's, which is the other big one. Whereas Yule's or Puck phase shift or any or a lot of other things cannot dodge Glimpse. Like Glimpse is an absolute, and so that's in my ideal world of Kunkka buffs, that would really bring support Kunkka back, or not back because he was never there, but he would bring him
Right.
into the meta.
Bring it to the
Anyway,
forefront of competitive Dota.
yeah. That being said, like Disruptor isn't even at the forefront, so so who knows? That being said, Disruptor he has some interesting item builds nowadays with like early veils. I'm kind of infamous with you and some other people for running Disruptor mid, which we will not be doing today. But Disruptor mid is hilarious and a lot of fun. And that's a build where you go like early veil, and on support Disruptor, Aghanims is nice, Refresher is nice, but if you're going for efficiency, having a decently timed veil, like the stats are great on pretty much anybody. Like veil stats are godly. Um, and having like all that damage it makes a big difference. Disruptor max glimpse first. If you're not maxing glimpse first, you're playing this hero wrong. I don't care how good lightning strike is. You don't need level 4 lightning strike at level 7.
You could need
That's
two.
two
Two
is
points in
one
lightning
thing.
strike is if you're like the only support and you're like expected to zone, like two is super legit.
Yeah, or one with an extra couple clarities. The It's like I want to tear my hair out whenever I see disruptors that have like one level in glimpse at level 5, or like, if you do go like one of these aggressive builds to like 2 points lightning strike, 1 point a kinetic field, and then 2 points glimpse, that's one thing. But like leveling kinetic field over glimpse past like level 1 is like the most aggravating thing in the world. So max glimpse and learn how to use glimpse, and it changes the whole hero. It's the whole like it's the hero's best ability other than his ult,
Yeah, it's
obviously.
definitely the most defining one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely the word for it. So, you know, use glimpse. I like God, it bothers me so much when I see these maxing Thunder Strike builds.
Yeah,
Anyway, the other things are just basic support items, right? You go like earn mech sometimes. Blink dagger is really sick. Force staff, obviously, like yeah, I mean
I find
everybody
myself
knows.
mainly building four staff on him, but I'm mostly a four staff player in general on like almost every hero, so
Yeah, I have
it
been
fits
moving
together.
towards Force Staff over Blink Dagger recently and I don't know where I picked this up, but I was looking because I've been playing a ton of Rubik, and there was some Rubik player that I was looking up guides for. Some like I like go to Dota Buff, look at top Rubiks, and it was one of them. And I was just studying like some of his games and watching, skimming through replays, and he goes just like mana boots force staff, and he doesn't buy a blink dagger until like after he goes mana boots force staff agonyms, and then I think he goes blink dagger. Like that's how low he prioritizes blink dagger
Yeah, I
because
mean, I would agree
force
for the
staff
most part.
force staff Rubik is like force staff just in general, right? If you're playing as support, force staff is a mobility item that not only helps you but helps your allies, and that cannot be like stated highly enough. That's it's such an important thing. There's a reason why old Cloud9 used to just buy 5 force staffs on their team. Like force staff is a really good item. That being said, Blink is really cool too.
Yeah. So
And
on
yeah,
Rubik, yeah, I think I would still prioritize like Blink over fucking Force Staff. But yeah, just Force Staff is I just love that item. And plus as a support, like it's so hard to get that like now 2250 gold or
yeah,
whatever. Like Force Staff is way easier and it helps your mana pool. Especially if you're a hero who got forced into like Soul Ring instead of mana boots for whatever shitty reason, like that can be devastating if you don't
yeah.
have Force Staff or something. But like on Disruptor and like Venomancer is another hero I feel this a lot on, and Omni Knight. Like just get the force staff instead, and then like you can be on the map or like be relevant in a team fight for such a longer amount of time.
Yeah, another part of that is that when you have that int from the force staff compared to having the zero stats from Blink Dagger, is you can more easily afford to go Aether Lens and disassemble your mana boots.
Yeah, that's true.
That is on Kunkka, for instance. That's something I've been doing recently. Is like I'll go for a int item, like even blade mail sometimes, because that gives you in whatever it is, like 8 int, 6 int,
Yeah, and it's just pretty good now.
or force staff over blink dagger, and then I build it in aether lens and I disassemble. Whereas if you go aether lens blink dagger, then you're mana starved all the time. So even disruptor, I kind of like that. I've done that before. So that definitely has potential. Any more closing notes on our combo? These
Yeah, I
three
want to
heroes don't
talk a
really
little bit
have.
about like when you pick Disruptor, like because he feels
Yeah,
an interesting niche that I feel like comes up every time Doom is relevant. Doom and Tidehunter, or sorry, I guess not really Doom. It's mostly Tidehunter.
yeah,
But they're like any hero that has the ability to make Tide not have Kraken Shell be relevant always has a kind of like unique a unique niche in the meta whenever Tide is there because Kraken Shell he takes damage, he sheds off whatever silence you put on him. So it could be you drop Skywrath silence on someone or on Tide Hunter, and then instead of getting that long ass silence, instead it's like 0.2 seconds because you're also trying to kill him, and
yeah,
then just your fucking impale goes away, your silence goes away, and then he presses R. But then there are some abilities like Doom that like one you can't crack and shell off Doom. Something like Black Hole, it doesn't matter if you crack and shell off the debuff of Black Hole, you're still in it. So you'll just get fucked again. And then and the same thing with Disruptor's ulti. Like Disruptor's ulti is one of the few things that really works for that. And then it's like really strong against Slark because it's like an AOE silence disable kind of deal. So it doesn't really care if he's in Shadow Dance. You don't have to aim it or anything. Um, yeah, he's just what is his ulti called? Like, is that
static storm.
Static Storm? There we go. Yeah, Static Storm is it's like it's pretty basic in that it's like an AOE team fight ulti, whatever. But it does do something different than like most others that you would think. The fact that it's like persistent debuff like on the ground is it definitely fills a role that you need to think about.
Yeah, I mean, we were in our theory crafting for this week's combo. We were talking about Disruptor, and Disruptor is a hero that he has some combos. Like one thing that I used to run is like Disruptor Ursa or Disruptor Wraith King, stuff like that. But Disruptor primarily is a counter pick hero, right? You pick him against people that are, I pick him a lot against like Quap and Puck and stuff, and these really evasive heroes. Um, and you can deal with them pretty well, like Slark, another evasive hero, because it's pretty much impossible to dodge Glimpse without a BKB, and a lot of the heroes don't like to build BKB that you're going to be glimpsing. And Static Storm, like we said, really good. And Static Storm with Aghanims, it doesn't matter if they have a BKB, they can't activate it, which is sweet. And the Aghanims makes it last a full second longer, I believe. And it does an incredible amount of damage. It's one of the reasons why I like Disruptor mid so much is because people always underestimate how much damage Static Storm does, and it turns out it does a lot. So that's something.
And it does. It's an interesting spell too. I want to see what the exact like kind of numbers on this are, but it does like less damage at the ends and more damage in the center, which is super weird.
I've heard that before, and
Oh,
I
sorry, no,
like.
it's not that. It's that the damage starts out low and then it gets stronger like as it's going.
Okay, I was gonna say I feel like you're super wrong, but
Yeah, no, no, no. Yeah,
yeah,
sorry. Yeah, it starts out on like level one. It goes from doing like 2 damage and it's whatever small interval up to 70 damage. So
gotcha.
about and it's pretty linear. It's just like +3 through the whole duration. Yeah, so it's important to have them there at the end. The beginning, like it's not going to do much burst damage for you, but yeah, it does a shit ton of damage once it starts going.
Yep, and I mean it's big enough that you can hit like a couple people in it consistently, at least two like consistently, and like in some
Yeah.
situations you can get really good ones and get on like 3 or 4 people, and like that's when you send your clips into to plays of the week or whatever that show is.
Can you
Um,
can you agree with me that the kinetic field change is just a straight up nerf?
I don't, I
Dude, it
don't
so
agree with you.
is. Oh my
I
god, it so is.
I'm conflicted because situationally it's a nerf, but if you place your Static Storm well, it gets everywhere in the thing. Static Storm actually extends a little farther than the animation that, or like than the effect, and so it hits everywhere within the new statics field or kinetic field. That being said, kinetic field, it being bigger does if you have bad Static Storm's placement, then obviously they can escape it.
Even just for like a standard kinetic field though, like it's just so fucking big. Like it doesn't do anything. Like I
Okay,
cast it down and then they still gonna walk, like half a screen.
well, I mean, now that kinetic field is larger, anybody last patch in 6.87, they increased kinetic field by like a small amount of radius. I think they added like 40 radius or something. The radius of kinetic field is 340, and the radius of static storm is 450, which doesn't sound right to me when I'm visualizing it, but I'll take Valve's word for it. But the idea behind it is that if somebody's caught now, there's like that extra 40 points of space they have to reach before the field goes up. So it's a buff in that it's like harder to get out of it, but it's also now larger, so there's more room inside of it for that person
Yeah.
to walk around.
It's
It's a weird
it's
change.
actually not that much. It was like a 15 unit difference, which isn't much, but I don't know. I just when I place my static fields now or kinetic fields, God, all these things have the same fucking name.
Yeah.
Thunderstrike, kinetic field, static storm, like fuck off.
Yep.
Anyway,
I hate themes.
whenever I place this kinetic field, I was just I just wish it was a little smaller. I wish I could like constrict their throats a little bit more with this thing, but it's not. It makes me sad.
Yeah, it's always you want one or the other, right? You wish it was smaller sometimes, and you wish it was like bigger or went up faster other times. It's unfortunate. It'd be cool if the hero had two fields he could put up, and like one, like if he had 5 abilities now, and when you skilled Connect Field, it gave you both, and they would go on, and they would have share a cooldown. But like you had a small field and you had a large field, and like the small one could be like a little ring. I mean, obviously the small one would be little, large one would be large. I don't know why that sounds cool to me.
Okay,
Um,
good to
or
know.
like maybe as Aghanims, he gets like two fields, and like he has like a big one and then a small one, and within the small one, it does like super like damage or whatever. I don't know.
Okay, this is interesting for me.
Yeah, it's not interesting for anybody else, and that's why we're gonna hop into the game. I
Yeah,
think we are gonna play the game, and one of us, or I mean, both of us, will record it. It'll be in somebody's POV, probably mine, I think. And we
yeah,
will have it up on the YouTube channel .ptv1, so you can watch it there. And I'm excited to play it. I'm looking forward to this game. I love Disruptor. He's so fun.
yeah. He's good.
All right, so yeah, catch us after the music or whatever interlude there is. All right, hello everyone. We are back. I'm on a Dota high basically. We played a really good game with our combo. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Despite like the early game. Did you have
yeah.
fun, Proud? I hope you had fun.
It was okay. I mean, it's anti-mage, whatever.
Yeah, so I guess just to start off, we'll go over our team comps. Our team had an off lane Tidehunter Venomancer aggro duo. And we had a mid Clinks, which is not necessarily conventional, but not unconventional per se. And then safe lane was our duo lane Disruptor Anti-Mage, and the enemy team had a mid Pudge, a safe lane Witch Doctor, Juggernaut, Phoenix, and an off lane Lifestealer. Which I'm surprised we didn't bring up Lifestealer in the first half because I've been seeing a ton of Lifestealer, and I know Proud you play a lot of Lifestealer.
I play
We won't
some.
necessarily.
Wouldn't say a lot, but I do time to time steal some lives.
Yeah. We're not gonna so we get into the hero, but that's something I've also been seeing a lot. And it's a cool hero. He's arguably OP. Some
You know
people
what?
have been bringing up
They
issue with him.
picked the two best carries against Disrupt or against Glimpse anyways.
Yeah.
The only two carries that have built-in fucking magic immunity were in our game. That's hilarious, honestly. Like
Yeah.
that's honestly that's probably about as bad as it gets.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I don't like maybe two good glimpses that game. Like that's what it felt like at least. Like maybe
Yeah.
two or three. And we had a lot of very stationary fights too. Because the nature of our team was we basically just team fought. And the other nature of our team was to just feed for like the first 15 minutes of the game. And we were down a lot. I don't have like the exact like numbers or XP or gold per minute we were down, but we were definitely not having a good time. And then eventually we just like team fought our way out of it, which is a good way to get yourself out of a hole. If you're behind, just because you don't have your items doesn't mean your ult is going to do any less damage. Um, unless like that item is a
Yeah, we were
highly
down
expensive.
11k at 15 minutes.
Yeah, so like almost 1,000 gold per minute down, and like we are super XP behind too. Like our Tidehunter didn't have Ravage. Our Venomancer stole
Oh yeah,
the
it was an 11
XP
minute
buff.
ravage, I think. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Our Venomanther had ulti before our fucking Tide had ravage. That's a problem, if you didn't know
Yeah,
that.
it was not good. I don't think I had ult until like 13 minutes or like somewhere in that 13 to 16 range.
Yeah.
But, for all our problems in the early game, also their Pudge was making a lot of hooks for a long time and like that sucked. And then eventually it petered out and he became like an average Pudge. But it was problematic. We had definitely our lane. I don't know. How do you think our lane went?
It was good until you left, and I didn't know that, and then I got killed by Phoenix and Lifestealer because my blink just didn't happen for no reason.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know why you didn't blink there.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. The cooldown went off, but I just no animation, not even like I didn't blink stationary. It just didn't fucking happen.
Yeah, it was bizarre. You can watch the VOD and like you'll see like I was looking at Proud when that happened and it was like the hero went through the full like spin and then just didn't go anywhere. And like neither of those heroes have stuns. Like it was just bizarre. Um
Yeah,
but yeah, the offlane life stealer while I was in lane because eventually I had to rotate top to fight which I got a kill and a return kill. The the Tidehunter like it's not that important in the grand scheme of things for the podcast, but the Tidehunter was really bad for the first while. But then he came through and made a few good ravages. Because thankfully that ability is like what 800 units diameter, and probably more than that, like 1,000 units. So it's hard to mess that up. Although he did miss two ravages with his first refresher. Anyway, that's relevant. But yeah, I rotated top, and that left you alone. And Anti-Mage is not necessarily a carry that you want to leave alone. And yeah,
yeah.
unfortunately,
It
that did
was
happen.
okay with the Lifestealer, like, but it was just once. I mean, I think it would have been okay in general. I just kind of wasn't aware it was going on.
Yeah, I should have communicated that better. I thought I TP'd when I was standing next to you, so I was like, oh, he knows. And then
That may
obviously,
have been. I was like trying to check Lifestealer mana and shit, so I was like not looking at my character.
yeah, it actually I think this is a good point to talk about this game in like a meta level. Communication. We had a case where we both muted our Venomancer because he was super super talkative and also
And
kind of a
whiny.
jerk. But like mostly like the whining was not that like it didn't bother me that much. Like he was just being annoying, but he was just talking so much and it was like distracting me. And we've had this conversation and like the tryhards try Tuesday talk about it before, but calm communication is very important and not like overall game comms. And when somebody like this Venomancer is just like talking constantly and not saying anything of use, like just mute the guy. I think we brought up a story in like our first half, or maybe it was during the VOD. But like there are those people that are just super negative, or they're super like they just talk too much, and like just mute them and like play your game. And if they're an important hero, like maybe you could suffer through it. But it was just so bothersome. So That was definitely something I thought about. And like you said, like I should have communicated my TP, so maybe I should have communicated more, whereas this guy communicated too much. So that's something to think about. Um, let's see. So in the mid game, that's where we hit our stride, right? We won a couple team fights. Clinks had a like 12-minute Deso treads, no soul ring. And Clinks really he shined for a good while, and then you got to pick up, and then you got your items, and went pretty well, I think.
Yeah, it was a little bit redundant the split pushing at some point, but it wasn't too bad. I just rewatched that by the way. I literally like I do the animation. I don't move at all, but it goes on cooldown.
Yeah, I thought you hit stop or something, and I was
No,
like,
it's on cooldown. It's so weird.
yeah, and like it didn't make the signal that like you blinked on top of yourself.
Yeah,
So like, what the heck?
yeah, no,
Anyway,
that's so weird.
I mean, Phoenix is such a good hero. Maybe she like has some passive that makes it so you can't blink. That sounds likely. That hero is awesome. That hero is so good.
Yeah,
And this
Phoenix
Phoenix
good
player
hero.
was pretty good. And he went Blade Mail, and like we talked about new Blade Mail a lot, like right when the patch hit, and how like new Blade Mail was just way too good, and it's still really good. And I had such an awful time. Like I died, I want to say twice, to just having ulted the Phoenix so that he couldn't egg or whatever, and then he would just Blade Mail, and I would kill myself,
Yeah.
and that was not fun.
And that, I mean that has nothing to do with the new blade mail, right? Because I mean you take the same amount of magic damage, but it's just the fact that like in addition to it, still being the old blade mail, it also is now good for like making anti-mage kill himself.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're right. Actually, it's not necessarily just new Blade Mail, but now I think on some levels, new Blade Mail is so good that people get it because like he got it for the Clinks, he didn't get it for me.
Yeah.
Um,
But I'm just saying that to not delegitimize your point. Like, someone could
yeah,
hear that and say, like, well, that part of it didn't change. But, like, the fact that it doesn't have the same weaknesses that it used to have, like, Anti-Mage like, it can kill himself now pretty easily. Um, but, yeah, it's just, Blade Mail fucking is good. It's good.
yeah, and even like thinking from a disruptor standpoint, or like if you're playing with some other like team fighty support or offlane or something, at times it's worth it to like die if they have a blade mail like out of Phoenix for instance, and like if I can get an ult off on like the Phoenix and the Pudge, both of which had blade mails, and like yeah they'll kill me with blade
Yeah.
mail return damage, but like I'm gonna still do my job. That's totally worth it. Like don't be scared of like throwing your stuff just because somebody has a blade mail. Um,
Yeah.
let's see what else about this game. Honestly, this game was like really long. This game was a 62-minute game, and it was a really good game. Like especially that like I feel like the last 20 minutes or so. So eventually we like traded racks, and then we had a bunch of team fights where like each team was losing heroes that had bought back, and like it was intense.
Yeah, I don't know.
And a little
I, like,
throwy.
from my perspective, the game seemed like kind of whatever. I mean, I had like 700 last hits, and that was just like me going around the map. Like me and Clinks were split pushing the whole time. Anytime we had a team fight, we like ravaged them, and then we won because we had like some pretty good team fight, and you got some sick ultis off. Um, and like they just couldn't kill me because of my item build or whatever. And then like every so often, I would just like get picked off, and then they would try to push, and then we'd kill them all. It kind of reminded me of that Medusa game I played a while ago where I had Pudge Techies on my team, and the only way we ever did anything is if I bought a rapier and then got picked off, and then they pushed with the rapier, and then they all died. Um, so that's just kind of how I feel. I don't know. Like, I don't dislike Anti-Mage. It's just, I don't feel like I just don't think he's that interesting. Like, nothing I did that game was, I felt like, wow, I'm cool. I just played Anti-Mage, like, you don't look at an anti-mage and be like, wow, that's a different anti-mage from the other anti-mage. Like they're all AMs. They all get the battle fury and then they punch the creeps and then they blink on someone in abyssal blade and press manta and then they run away. It's
See,
whatever.
I was like, I mean, I disagree completely. And again, like I love
That's because
Anti-Mage.
you're wrong.
He's probably my
Just in case
second
you didn't know.
favorite carry, or he's probably my favorite carry, and Naga'd probably be my second favorite. But like you had some ults where like I was getting like I was vicariously excited, or I mean, I was just excited because
Oh,
that's how
I don't know.
excitement.
I feel like whenever I don't get an insane ult, I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Like if you're bad, you're bad. But I mean, if you make good ults, like it's so exciting. Like some of my favorite moments in Dota 2 are like anti-mage ulting like an Enigma and killing 5 people, and
Yeah, like
like
that's cool, but
it's so cool. And that's like I think this game is not necessarily an anti-mage game. Like in this against the enemy team lineup, if we were not doing obviously the podcast game, I don't think anti-mage would have necessarily been the pick here.
Phantom
Um,
Assassin.
yeah,
No, it
I
wouldn't
think like
actually.
Slark would have been legit here, like
Oh yeah,
really
it's such
good.
a good Slark game. Holy shit.
Um, or like, yeah, I mean, I honestly I think Slark would. I think Slark was banned actually. Yeah, Slark was
Yeah.
banned, but anti-mage is normally you pick him as a counter pick to like a Storm Spirit or an Enigma or some kind of like big mana or a Tinker, big mana using hero. So you didn't really have tons of opportunities to have like crazy big ults this game, but that is kind of like why I love anti-mage so much. I like it's so satisfying to like just have those ults and like yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
Big fan.
I can see it. There was the one time where I got like a half decent ult off, and you were like, "Wow, great ult!" And I was like, I thought you were like making fun of me. It's like it's this fucking it's Anti-Mage, man. Press R, and then if it was a int hero, then you do some damage.
Yeah, but like you gotta like be clicking around. You gotta figure it out. It's a little. It has some complexity. That's
Okay.
actually kind of wrong, but it requires some stuff. Let's see what else about this game. Let's talk about items.
Okay.
So we talked about anti-mage items earlier, and the anti-mage build is kind of rote and like very linear.
Yeah.
And you you went heart, and I like heart as well. I know some people don't though. So let's talk a little bit about the reasoning
Oh
behind
yeah, I'm
going
still
heart
into
on
heart.
anti-mage.
I wanna preach the gospel of heart because I
Also,
used
when
to.
you go heart.
Yeah, I used to be kind of against heart, but yeah, man, you gotta go fucking heart. It's so good. Yeah, so I went. I got like pretty shit on early games. Like I had total free farm, and then at like 9 minutes, I like died, and then I died again, and it was like, well, there goes fucking everything that was beautiful. But yeah, so I think maybe some people who were playing the game that I was playing might say, "Oh, hey, this is where the new Vanguard comes in. You go Vanguard here because like you're really looking for that situation because you're fucking desperate and you really want this new thing to be good." But I'm like really glad that I didn't go for Vanguard instead went for Battle Fury because I feel like even if I did go for Vanguard, it wouldn't really change the math on any of these fights. It would have just been like maybe I blink out and survive and do nothing as opposed to blink in and die and do nothing.
Hmm.
So I think the Battle Fury was correct. I think it's just really rare where you get the Vanguard instead of the Battle Fury. And then I just went, Vanguard next so that I wouldn't die in like the space of one Pudge Hook. And then Manta because, Omni Slash, etc. Manta, a good item. And then I just got Basher because they had a Life Stealer. And having Basher and a Juggernaut, like two Magic Immunity heroes, you want the Basher. It's like still pretty basic stuff. You just get the Manta or the Abyssal after that. And I had like open item slots, which I don't feel like anyone should have anymore because there's so many sweet ass cheap items. But like none of them are good on anti-mage. Like what do you get? What's the tiny item you get?
That is the question, right? I like he doesn't
Windlace?
like you already have you don't buy Windlace because you're blinking everywhere. You
Yeah,
don't like in some games you
I
need
think you can buy
dust.
Windlace.
I think I mean you're physically able to spend the 235 gold, but I don't think it's worth it.
I don't know, man. Just like not using those slots feels so wrong.
Like I mean you could have dust for the witch doctor that kept getting away because he had a glimmer cape.
Yeah, that
I
was like
mean
after though.
you could. I really don't know. I don't. I mean, you could have gotten. No, that would have been dumb.
Yeah, like Blightstone maybe for pushing that would have been somewhat viable. Can you do that
Yeah,
with I don't know
it
how the
doesn't.
fucking Blightstone is as
It
far as like
doesn't.
orb effects if it stacks with mana break.
I don't think it stacks. I'm like 99% sure it doesn't stack.
Yeah, well that's something for someone else to
Orb of
figure.
Venom doesn't stack either, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it
so
does not.
Blightstone would not stack. Um, yeah, I don't know. Having empty item slots is rough sometimes, but Anti-Mage is one of the exceptions where he really just doesn't have them.
Yeah, there's
Because like
just
when you buy Battlefield, everything's wrapped up into that, and you don't need like a PMS
yeah, and then you
because you're
get
gonna
like
be going
Vanguard,
Vanguard.
and you have like a Quelling Blade, a Battle Fury, a TP, and like a Vanguard. It's like okay, what else do I do? And then like I buy an Abyssal, which just wraps into my Vanguard. So I've just got an open slot all game for like no reason. And like one of them is I guess I was gonna say Stout Shield, but it's not. There's no Stout Shield because it's in Vanguard. But yeah, there's just like an open slot, which is just so weird for me. But it's just kind of the case.
Yeah, and you can't delay your like real items by getting like a stat item like an Aki because
Yeah,
it's
no,
like
there's no
well,
reason to go Aki
although
on this
some
here.
fighting anti-mage builds do that.
Yeah.
Or they'll buy an urn, which is the slasher's way fighting anti-mage build.
If you were
But
going like super split push, I could see maybe a Bassi, but like whatever. In general,
oh,
I
that's
think you
true.
just have the open slot and you don't complain about it too much. I think Windlace could be viable if you're under pressure because there were a lot of times where I was like, I don't want to like waste my blink to move here because then if I see Juggernaut and the Omnis, I'm dead.
I
Um,
actually like the Bastia idea. You just kind of mentioned that offhand, but in in some instances, because Bastia's like what 10 damage plus 3 armor in an
6,
AOE for.
2 armor. Dude, what game do you play?
I'm thinking of Aki. I'm thinking of Aki.
Okay, that's 18. That wasn't a good defense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't build that stupid item. I play like I play anti-heroes, all right.
Okay.
Regardless, I think Bassi would have been interesting because it's like what 500 gold for
Yeah,
all that,
500.
and like I mean, you're not going Vlad with this build, but it opens up that opportunity. And like
Yeah.
our team didn't have an Aki or a Bassi.
Bassi. Yeah, I mean, being that the Clinks didn't go it, I think it wouldn't have been bad, honestly. But
Yeah, not hugely consequential though.
yeah, I think that game Windlace would have been good just because, like, if you're afraid to blink ever, I think Windlace is a decent option. Like, I could just run to camp a little bit better. Yeah, I think I would have liked Windlace that game if I was being a little more cognizant of my options. But it's really kind of not that big a deal either way. I don't think.
Yeah, those are like the super
Anyway,
min maxi things.
Heart, what an item. So basically with anti-mage, right? Like you burn their mana, and nothing else you do really matters too much until you get like a shit ton of farm. And you could tell yourself, hey, heart is a shit ton of farm, so if I didn't get heart I could do a lot of shit. But actually you're wrong because you're gonna die. Anti-mage is a squishy little boy, and if he lives forever, like he's like Phantom Lancer, if he's alive for a long time, you win the fight. And they really want to kill you, and you don't really take any magic damage, and you take some physical, but you can blink away from physical damage because it's all fucking melee this patch.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Heart a lot. Like you can blink out of a fight and then pretend you're Slark and then regen and then come back into it. Um, if you like get caught while you're split pushing, having extra damage is not going to help you. Having a heart will. They will not kill you if you have a heart and you're split pushing and they catch you. At least that game, like I got caught by like 4 people, and you guys were like, oh, I don't know if I should go in, and then you did, and we won the fight. And I was like, hey, I never actually dropped below like 2,500 health the whole time they were on me, and you guys were being like indecisive on whether or not to save me. Not that that was wrong of you. I was surprised I lived too, but like anti-mage with a heart is a tanky ass motherfucker.
Yeah,
And a
for
Vanguard too. Holy shit.
yeah, Heart plus Vanguard, it definitely it definitely changes anti-mage. Like right when you get that heart timing, the hero feels so different because it's like, all right, I went from being a hero that has to worry about like getting blinked on and abyssaled by like the lifestealer or the juggernaut, and now like I have this heart and like I hope they do that so that I can turn around and kill them. It definitely like it makes a huge difference. And I used to also be a not heart person. I went from being a heart person, like tried and true. Then for a while I played non heart AM, and then recently I've been totally back into heart in most games.
Yeah.
Because I try like some of the super split push like high DPS builds that like pro players did, and then kind of trickled down into pubs. People would go they would go for their uh Battle Fury, like Treads, Battle Fury, Manta, Abyssal, and then they would just get a Moon Shard, and they would just
Yeah.
keep
Or
their
like AC. Fucking
yeah.
that's too
AC
much
I've
shit.
seen a few times, and that's a bridge too far. But the Moon Shard build was pretty. I wouldn't say common, but I definitely saw it a like good number of times. I even tried it a few times, and like it's interesting and it's cool, but it's not. I just heart gives you a lot of options, right? You know, it's not all in, or rather, it allows you to not go all in when you're fighting. Like you can take a fight, and if it's not going well, you just blink away, you regen, and then you come back in.
Yeah.
You cosplay as Slark or whatever.
I've
Uh,
seen like sometimes you kind of have to make the decision between BKB and heart, otherwise you're like cutting out
yeah,
fucking either your boots or like butterfly, or you have
yeah,
to sell your battle fury early or something. So something like with BKB is like super necessary. I can see maybe delaying heart. If you don't want to get an early BKB, like you delay heart and get the moonshot, or delay heart, get the fucking butterfly or something. But if you don't like very desperately need a BKB, and on anti-mage it's kind of rare that you do, especially if you're not running a one core lineup. Then I think in most cases you just want the heart, and I feel the same way about like Phantom Lancer. Like if you're just tanky and you can regen in fights, and you just eliminate the possibility that you can get like bursted down and caught out and die. I think that's just like insanely valuable, like more valuable than really anything else. Like I feel like in Dota, there's something I think I was talking to, or I may have mentioned it yesterday, but there's a lot of things that people do that they think matter, but in reality, like there's a lot of binary situations in Dota that don't really have any like gradient to them. Like if Anti-Mage is split pushing, and so like if one team is committing to a tower and your anti-mage has a moon shard or a heart, um, he's gonna kill that tower before they kill your tower, and it might happen regardless of the moon shard or not. It's just like he has the space to do it, so he's gonna do it. But the heart is a lot bigger of like the heart will change a lot more with like kind of situations. The moon shard, like if you're getting the push in, you're getting the push in. The moon shard is like you'll get a little more of the push, and maybe it'll open like one or two slightly different opportunities. Like you'll get a little more tower damage, and you'll be able to escape faster. But in general, like if you have the space to push, you're pushing, and there's always going to be a chance that they're like smoked around somewhere that they're going to like kill you with heart. And like if you don't have the heart, you can't take that chance. But if you do, you can. And like it's I don't know. Do you kind of get what I'm saying?
I agree with it. I agree with you. I think, like you said, I mean, a a lot of choices are they don't change the overall math of the situation. That's like a phrase you use a lot,
Yeah.
right? It's just like, if you're split pushing and you're pushing, they're either going to address it and you're not going to get the tower, or they're not going to address it and you're going to get the tower, right?
Yeah.
And it's not going to change terribly whether you have an additional 50 or 100 attack speed or not, right? It's going to help you, but it's not going to really like change the math of the situation, right? That 100 attack speed is not going to change the fact that if they rotate on you, you're probably either going to blink on them and kill them, or they're going to rotate on you with like somebody consequential, and then you're going to have to run away, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't change with either of those items. And heart just opens up a lot of opportunities, right? I think there's something you said that like when you have a heart and when you have an additional 600 HP or whatever it is, it's more than that actually. It's
It's
like,
like a thousand
yeah, it's like a
incredible
thousand.
amounts. It was like
Um,
over 1,000 now with the last buff and strength change
yeah,
and
it's
all that stuff.
1100. It's 1100. Because it's 45 strength, 250 health. It's 1150. Excuse me. That allows you to make mistakes, and none of us are perfect players, right? Obviously.
I never made
And
a mistake in my life.
that's true. But I mean, you're in the extreme minority
I
here.
know. I know.
When you have that heart, like you said, I mean, you have 1150 extra health of mistakes to make, right? That like means you can get caught out and then still blink away, compared
Yeah.
to a different situation where you'd get caught out and then die and then you lose, or like then you have to buy back and then you're down 2000 gold and you can't farm for another 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So that's something to be said about like ease of execution drafts and stuff that's just like, it's insurance, right? So
Yeah.
that's something to think about.
The one other thing I would apply that to is like the classic like sitting behind towers in terms of certain actions are kind of like binary. Like if you sit behind the tower, it doesn't mean that the tower is defended. It just gives you like a chance to die. But if you don't sit behind the tower, you know for a fact that you're not gonna die. Like you think that there's like an important gradient in between sitting behind the tower or just sitting in base, but there actually isn't. It's just either you fucking die or you don't. And there's like no part of this is a spectrum of success. It's just you're dead or you're not.
Yeah, it's always a 50-50 chance. You either die or you don't die.
Right.
All right. So on the disruptor front, item wise, I did not go four staff this game, despite all our loving talk about four staff and Aetherlands, etc. This game, what I did was I built incredibly slow mana boots because boy,
Nice.
that took forever. Because like we said, our laning stage did not go well, and I did not get the last hit creeps, so I had like mana boots at like 15 minutes or some garbage like that. Um, and then I went Glimmer Cape, Ghost Scepter, Aghanims. And I went Glimmer Cape initially, or like right away, because I was getting hurt a lot by the Phoenix and Pudge,
Yeah.
and just in general, like it helps you. Not only was it going to mitigate those things, but and also kind of like Force Staff, it's A, an item that helps me, but B, an item I can use on people. Like I use it on you, and I use it on Clinks, etc. Um, and the other thing is that it allows me to escape from somebody like a Life Stealer, or
Or
if Juggernaut,
Juggernaut even.
yeah, exactly, or Juggernaut, and or if he's even ulting me, I get ulted for that second and a half of fade time, and then it goes away because I'm invis. And they were carrying dust a lot of the time because we had a Clinks on our team, but there were also times where I got away with it, and
Yeah, it saved me a couple times. I was like really glad I get like caught out and Pudge is ulting me, and then I'm like, why'd they stop attacking me? And then I blink out, and it's great.
yeah, Glimmer Cape, really good item, despite like the fact that it got nerfed. And now a lot of heroes they like don't build it because they want like an Aether Lens or some other items instead. Because there's a lot of those like kind of expensive but also not expensive items for supports nowadays, like Veil and Ghost Scepter and Force Staff, etc. So Glimmer Cape
Yeah.
has kind of been seeing less play, but it's still a really good item.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a lot of heroes that like Venomancer, for instance, like he can barely support his ult at level 6, and normally I don't get it at 6. But and
Most
then like
people
Limmer
don't.
Cape costs another 90 mana and has no int on it or anything, doesn't buff your mana pool. So you need to be pretty careful if you're a hero that can actually support the Glimmer Cape. But like a Mana Boot Disruptor at 27 minutes can definitely afford the 90 extra mana.
Yep, that's for sure. And then the Ghost Scepter was my next item, and that was just another thing to mitigate all of the things they had to kill me.
Yeah,
Um, Notably, Juggles, Lifestealer, attacking me. And the Ghost Scepter honestly wasn't that consequential this game. I thought it was gonna do more than it did, but also it just give you really good stats, right? Ghost Scepter is what, 8 to all stats, 9 to all stats,
it's like
5.
5.
It's only 5. It used to be
You're not
8,
having a
but
good
then
day.
it used to be 8, but then they made it cheaper because it used to be 1800 gold or 1900 gold,
I
and it
think
used to be 8 to all
it was like
stats.
17. Man, you're like striking out.
I am struggling now, but it's late, and still the thing applies, right? It's good stats. 5 to all stats is nice. And so that was fine. Then I built Aghanims because the other team built like 4 BKBs or something like that,
Yeah,
3. Um, and the Aghanims on Disruptor is really good. It's not like one of the like top tier Aghanims like Witch Doctor Ags. Like it's not required, but once you get it, you definitely notice. Like it makes a big difference with
yeah.
the Aghanims. And that was pretty sweet. I was happy about it. Also, it means they couldn't blade mail me, so I wasn't killing
Yeah,
myself
that's
on
the
blade
main
mails.
things. You need to fucking worry about that blade mail. Or no,
Yeah,
it
that.
went from 1600 to 1500,
Yeah, okay, so that's what it was.
and attributes from 7 to 5.
Yeah, I feel like it was more expensive before that even, but anyway,
They changed it around twice. It was 1500 to 1600, then 1600 to 1500.
okay. Um, so yeah, I mean that those were my items for that disruptor game. Again, like in a different game, I'd probably go more mobility.
Yeah.
But
Being
I
that I
was
was like
very
blinking
poor.
and shit, I feel like force staff wouldn't have been very helpful. So I think it's fine that you didn't do what I always do, which is buy force
Kind
staff on
of.
every hero.
Kind of, but it was also like because you guys are so mobile, maybe I needed
Yeah,
mobility to keep up with the fight because a lot of times, like I would mostly just be dead, because they would like pop their Phoenix Egg and Lifesteal would jump on me or Pudge would hook me or what have you. Although were a couple of fights where Pudge would hook me and then like I would just ult on top of him and his friends because like they would all be ready to fight and
yeah.
there's no
Dude,
mini stun to Pudge
fucking
hook.
God bless the time between Pudge hooking you and then dismembering. Like there are so many heroes that can
Yeah.
just like make the world of difference in that split second.
Oh yeah. So that was that. I mean, the Disruptor game was rough because of the cores they picked against me, and like
Yeah,
Phoenix is not very good to play against as a disruptor, and Phoenix built a Lincoln's like on one level it was almost a good thing that they went so hard in countering the first pick support because like they didn't have anything to deal with Clinks really in
Hook
a
seemed to be
certain
doing a
instance.
pretty good job, man. He had 18 deaths. Holy shit, he had the highest deaths on our team.
Yeah, I mean like but the hook would have like he just like is not good at playing against Pudge because
Dude, neither
he
am I.
he got hooked
He's my
constantly.
brother.
Yeah, probably. Long lost, I'm sure. Um, so that was that. I mean, I don't really have anything too much more to say about that game or like my reflection.
Yeah, you can play Anti-Mage next time. I just, he's whatever. Like, I don't feel like I'm that strong at playing that hero specifically. Like, I was making some mistakes. So there was like one fight where I was just like, what am I doing? What do I have up? What items can I do? Can I ulti? No, it's on cooldown. Why is this on cooldown? And I just was like, fuck it, I'm gone. And I just let Venomancer die. And you were like, yo, you had Abyssal. And it's like, I don't fucking care, I'm gone, man. I need to fucking look at my skills again.
Yeah,
So you can do that.
I've still been adjusting to the new abyssal timing, and that's like my like I don't play enough abyssal cores to like be
Yeah.
fully acclimated to the difference in cooldown. So I'm still kind of getting used to that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm always happy to play anti-mage. That is like I could play that hero. I like that's how I played. That's why I climbed on party MMR. Like I was like 45 or 4600 party MMR at one point because I was playing with a stack and I would just play anti-mage like almost every game, and it was 6.83 or 4 or whatever the Storm Spirit patch was.
Yeah. So
So
yeah,
I would
six
literally just play
or
anti-mage
five.
over and over again.
Yeah.
But those days are no longer. Maybe next patch
Like
when Storm Spirit gets buffed or whatever.
destroy anti-mage culture.
Yep. Or at least learn how to play him. All
Destroy
right.
anti-mage culture.
So let's pull some plugs, shall we? So
Okay.
we stream on twitch.tv/.ptv. That is where you can
I
catch.
don't.
Well, yeah, no, you don't. Although
So don't say we.
sometimes well we as a .p_ show.
Not me.
I stream primarily. Roland also streams, and we stream 82L games. We stream our in-houses, which are Saturday evenings at 8 Eastern, and those are always a lot of fun. So, if you want to follow that, you can see any and all content that we produce there.
I hear
Um,
that Madonna is casting this week.
yeah, that's exciting. I should be there. I'll probably be her co-caster.
Okay.
She could be my hype man, or hype lady, or whatever. Um, we have a YouTube channel, .ptv1. That's a numerical one. That's where you can catch the game from today, and plenty of other content we've made. I've long said that I'm restarting my replay review series, but I'm actually doing it now. So I'm just waiting on a good game to pull up. We have a website, defenseofthepatients.com. We have an Amazon banner there where you can click through that and bookmark it or what have you, and buy things through that, and it gives us some cut of the money. It's a win-win for everybody involved. It is literally free money for you to give to us. So yeah, um,
We love
we have
money, dude.
yeah, free money is my favorite type of money as well.
Like
Twitter,
90% of it.
yeah, Twitter is another avenue to get at us. I am at Ursinity, Proud is at Proud Dota, and our overall show is at .p_show for all your .p needs. We have an email, defenseofthepatients@gmail.com. You can send us anything and everything there. And if you want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/defenseofthepatients and, give what you can if you would like to do so, if you enjoy the content we produce, if you would like to see more of it, etc., etc. I think that's about it for us, and
Yeah. Dude, teriyaki beef jerky is so good.
I am a fan. I'm sure like my arteries will clog. We should get sponsored by them. Maybe in our
Yeah.
next,
By
maybe
that
next
guy.
week, maybe next week plug. Maybe in next week plugs, we're gonna be plugging Jack Links or whatever. Not Jack Links. We'll be plugging like some kind of good version of beef jerky.
Okay.
Um, Anyway, thanks for
Well,
listening.
we just lost that sponsorship, so that's good.
I mean, I would happily recant and repent for my actions. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for coming out. And remember, if you run this combo, it's not our fault. I messed up our tagline, but
Yeah,
that's
that
fine. Who
I
cares?
had something to say like in regards to this thing, but I forgot it. Sorry.
That's fine. This is a mess, but whatever. Hang out, watch our game, and thanks for listening. Bye
And
bye.
it's your fault,
It
right?
is.
Okay.